Bourbon Street in New Orleans, Louisiana, where this legendary street is about to be empty because the madness has hit. It's third-seeded BYU taking on second-seeded Florida. The winner of this game advancing to the Elite Eight, and they will take on the winner of our next game between the Butler Bulldogs and Wisconsin Badgers. Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson along with Reggie Miller and Len Elmore, and welcome to the Big Easy, where this game is a rematch of a game last year played in the first round of the NCAA tournament, BYU winning in overtime. Jimmer Fredette had 37 in that game, Len, and he has captivated the nation with his abilities.
Well, I'm very excited to see the legend live. And when we talk about Jimmer Fredette, obviously nation's leading scorer, he's been under the spotlight all year, putting up big numbers in the tournament right now, but he's also getting his teammates involved, which is very important. And most importantly, Jimmer has confidence, and that's what it's all about.
And it won't be easy for him this evening because they're taking on the Florida Gators, regular season SEC champions, and they have a player, Reggie, that doesn't score as much as Jimmer. However, he does all the little things.
Well, the leading scorer, that would be Kenny Boynton and Irving Walker, but the most versatile of the Gators is Chandler Parson, and what I like about him is his ability to run the floor and finish at the rim. His passing ability, really finding his teammates and cutters, and his ability to offensive rebound at that 6'10" frame. He really gives teams a lot of headache. I guess you could kind of say he is a jack of all trades for the Florida Gators.
All right, the last time they faced each other, these teams combined for 191 points. It's Jimmer time, folks, from the Big Easy.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Bud Light, Chevrolet, and by Southwest Airlines.
And welcome back to New Orleans. We're ready for our first game of the night. BYU versus the Florida Gators. Time now to join the fourth member of our team. Courtside, Marty Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Gus Johnson. And Kenny Boynton in his left ankle, 100% go for tonight. Of course, all week long, the talk was about his left ankle. It was wrapped up all week long. He iced it 3 times a day and stayed off of it for contact drills until yesterday. But today, he has it taped up. That is different. Kenny told me before the game, he's never done that in his career, so it's a little different feeling for him. But he said, you know what? I don't mind it. I kind of like that security. So he is a full go today for Florida. Gus?
All right, let's take a look at the lineup for BYU. 32-4 overall this season. And you know about Jimmer Fredette. However, pay attention to Jackson Emery, Defensive Player of the Year in the conference, Collinsworth, and Hartsock. Meanwhile, for the Florida Gators, Boynton as well as Walker are their leading scorers. They both average 14 a game. And the men in black for this evening. Let's take a look. Kersey, Roberts, and Dorsey. This game is brought to you in HD TV by LG. Life's good. Gus Johnson, along with Reggie Killer Miller and Len Elmore. This is a rematch of last season's first-round matchup that saw the 7th-seeded Cougars defeat the 10th-seeded Florida Gators 99-92 in double overtime. Guys, what should we pay attention to early on?
Early on, I'm watching the matchup. Obviously, everyone else is going to. Jimmer Fredette and really Kenny Boynton. Is he going to be able to pressure him? We talked to him yesterday. He said he is not going to leave Jimmer for these long threes.
Well, my expectation is on defense, Florida is going to try to guide Jimmer. Got a lot of length on that front line. Guide him into trap situations. Get the ball out of his hands. And on the other end, the big line of Florida needs to be able to rebound, limit the possessions of Brigham Young. No second chances.
So for BYU in the first round of this NCAA tournament, they managed to come out, play well second round as the Cougars go to the basket. Second round, it was Gonzaga. Fredette with another great game, back-to-back 30-point ball games. Inside, Macklin, and this is the advantage that this Gator team may have, Len.
Yeah, I mean, the size up front, and you know, these guys are not only long, but they're athletic, particularly Parsons, who we mentioned before. Parsons has the ability to pass the ball, score, as well as rebound. You know, they got to utilize that versatility against almost equally sized Brigham Young team, but maybe not as skilled.
BYU beating Wofford 74-66, and that jump shot goes down. The Cougars on the board.
Well, Emery, much taller than Irvin Walker. He just took the opportunity to use that size.
Dave Rose, you're excited about that. Someone other than Fredette knocking down a long three as Tyus answers the call at the other end. I'm a little surprised here. We've been talking about Brigham Young in this 2-3 zone already early on in this first half, going man-to-man against Florida.
Meanwhile, that one rattling in for Hartsock. Noah Hartsock, 6'8", 230. And BYU ties it up at 5. Parsons driving. Oh, and he banks it in.
And that's what Parsons brings to the table at his size, that kind of handle and ability to drive.
Fredette the other way, rejected out of bounds. Vernon Macklin. So Dave Rose in his 6th season at BYU. He's a former member of Phi Slamma Jamma, the Houston Cougars. Mountain West Coach of the Year for the 3rd time. He's won 4 conference titles during his time. Jimmer off the heel. And here comes Walker with the hard push into the front court. What do you like about Walker?
Well, at 5'8", his size and his ability to do exactly right there, get into the paint. And that was not a shot. That was a controlled lob there to Tyus.
Tyus with his 2nd basket of the game. Florida up 9-5. Emery deep. And hits. Jackson Emery, the defensive player of the year in the Mountain West Conference, but he's been scoring the ball well. Had 16, 4 dimes, 3 steals versus Gonzaga in the last round.
Boy, you talk about entertainment. We like this kind of game, up and down, baby. We love it.
Walker, rise and fire, and hits.
And there's the 2-3 zone by BYU, and I think Dave Rose is going to talk about it.
How about this, folks? They are red hot to start. Florida up 12-8.
When you're guarding Jimmer Fredette, it's all about containment. And right here, Kenny Boynton makes him declare. You see how he's turned this way and funnels him towards the help? And then, obviously, the results are what they are. But you expect Fredette to get his, but you want to be able to channel him towards help so you can contain him.
Both teams shooting high percentages to start this game. Baseline. And that one off the back rim. Florida 5 of 6. BYU, after that miss, now 3 of 7.
Yeah, but that's the kind of possession that Florida wants on the defensive end. One shot and out.
Walker swings it. Boynton inside. Parsons dangerous from that area. He's a great passer. Walker off the dribble, and he knocks it down.
I like how he frees the defense right there with that pump fake. One escape dribble for the easy 12-footer there for Walker.
Florida coming off a 73-65 win over 7-seeded UCLA. Prior to that, they beat Santa Barbara in the 2nd round. This one off the back rim, Charles Abuo.
And again, Reggie, you see how when Jimmer gets it and he's putting it on the floor, trying to push him towards 2 and 3 guys. He's smart enough to give the ball up instead of forcing it.
And Boynton takes his eyes off the ball, and it goes out of bounds. 15:41 to play first half. Florida 14, BYU 8. All right, Greg, thank you very much. And we're watching Jimmer here, and Connecticut, Reggie, with another Player of the Year candidate in Kemba Walker.
Well, I think San Diego State is equipped to play Kemba Walker. They face Jimmer 3 times on a regular basis. So when you're going against an experienced scorer like Kemba Walker, I really do believe Steve Fisher will be prepared as Jimmer gets his shot blocked.
Again, he's got to be cognizant of the help, and sometimes that probably takes his focus off really getting himself in position to shoot it.
Really like the pace here by Billy Donovan and the Florida Gators. Trying to get the ball inside, playing inside out.
And Parsons knocks down a 3 in the corner. He has 5 points. Florida taking a 17-8 lead. And the hustle play goes to Hartsock. New shot clock. Jimmer to the basket, deals it down. Beautifully done. Charles Abuya.
And when you can score at the pace Fredette has scored at all year, you've got to be able to make guys better. And that time you saw an example. He's not worried about a shot right now. He's worried about putting points on the board, no matter how.
Skip pass, Walker. And this time it's Boynton as he buries a 3. This Florida team, wow, are they playing well to start this game. 8 of 9 shooting, and that's close to 90%.
That was Fredette range right there. See if Jimmer can return the favor.
Well, then see what happens when you try to get the ball inside and you're successful early. It allows you to knock down those outside shots.
Baseline jump shot goes down. Jackson Emery, and he's a 36% three-point shooter, 89 of 248 coming into this game.
Reggie, that's usually what I used to tell guards, man, but they didn't believe it. Get it inside and you'll get the shots you want after we finish.
Tyus turns it over. And here come the Cougars. Collinsworth. Emery dumps it down. Hartsock not ready. Now get the latest gear for your team at the official store of the NCAA. Find great hoops merchandise at ncaa.com/shop.
If you're Jackson Emery, you just made 3 threes in a row. You've got to be able to shoot that ball. I understand that Hartsock was open underneath, but when you're hot, you got to let it go.
Right, he was open, but he wasn't open unless he's looking for that pass. And that's what happened. He knows that Emery's knocking down shots. He's going straight to the rim looking for the rebound.
Eric Murphy is checked in for Florida. Wears number 33. Parsons.
Tell you what, Florida shot it well enough to get BYU out of that zone. They're going to man right now, an aggressive man.
Scotty Wilbekin checking in for Florida as well. Boynton. Parsons trying to track it down and does. 5 to shoot. Wilbekin. 3 to shoot. Wilbekin forced it up. Loose ball inside. Young fighting for it. New shot clock for the Gators, and they'll start over.
Well, that's a smart decision there by the freshman, Scotty Wilbekin. Run some offense off.
Barely got it to the rim, though. You saw it just grazed the rim.
Wilbekin slashing, dumping. Inside, loose ball, a turnover. Here come the Cougars. 3-on-3. Baseline, up and in, and the foul! Logan Magnuson from Jimmer Fredette. And the Cougars getting up and down, Reggie.
And this is the pace that BYU wants to play. And you think Fredette's going to go up for the shot. Does a nice job of dropping it off to his right to Magnuson, who's running the lane hard there. And you see the Jimmer's reaction right there, and that's the way they've got to speed up this game. You wouldn't think so. If they're going to play this 2-3 zone, and you've got the shooters of a Jackson Emery and a Jimmer Fredette, you want to speed this pace up.
Yeah, we need to emphasize the fact that not only is Jimmer averaging about 33 points in this tournament, but 6.5 assists. And that was the case of pure unselfishness, getting a better shot. He had a jump shot from the free throw line. For a lot of guys who shoot like him, that might be a layup, but he dished it off nicely. And that's the threat that he presents.
Fredette with 155 assists on the season. 2016, Parsons. Walker has long distance range from Brooklyn, New York. Oh, and one. And Lenny, you know, kids from Brooklyn can get to the bucket.
I'll tell you what, he kind of winded his way through that defense, gets in. Now, might have gotten away with an offensive foul, that left arm.
What do you mean he might have gotten away with one? He did get away with one. But when you're 5'8", it always looks like you're getting beat up on the playground, Gus. So when you go in there in the land of the Giants.
But I was questioning whether or not, in fact, it was an offensive foul.
All right, so Walker out of Christ the King High School in New York. Parsons takes a seat. 23-16 Florida. Here's Jimmer facing on Wilbekin, backs him down, pivots.
Good D.
Strip.
Good D.
Very good D. That's how you move your feet and use your chest. That's exactly what Scotty Wilbekin did on that. He used his chest to square up Jimmer Fredette.
And a foul.
This will go against Jackson Emery.
First thing he did was stay on his feet, make him pick up his dribble. And Reggie.
And thank you very much, Greg. UConn, San Diego State up next, Duke and Arizona. How do you like that matchup?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Arizona has enough to be able to contest Duke. Duke with Kyrie Irving, outstanding. Without him, pretty good.
Eric Murphy, who averages close to 5 points a game, the sophomore, banks that one in. And this Florida team continues to be aggressive and take it right at BYU.
Gus, 10 of 12 shooting already in this first half for Florida. Too much size early on for Billy Donovan and the Florida Gators.
Billy Donovan, Billy the Kid, took his team to the Final Four as the ace player for Coach Rick Pitino at Providence. He's won 2 national championships at Florida. 06-07 took him to the national final, losing to Michigan State as well. So what a coach. SEC Coach of the Year, winning his 4th conference title. 25-16, loose ball picked up on the steal. And here comes Rogers. Jimmer Fredette 0 for 3 to start this game. However, his teammates picking him up. Steven Rogers coming off a 10-point, 3-rebound, 1-block game against Gonzaga.
The question is whether or not BYU can continue to score at this pace without Jimmer Fredette putting points on the board.
Well, they're doing a pretty good job without him. And that only bodes well for Dave Rose. If everyone else can get involved here early on, and then your main player can start knocking down shots.
Ball tipped up and in, beautifully done. Kyle Collinsworth, who averages 6 points, a freshman from Provo, gets on the board, and we've got a 4-point game as we get close to the 10-minute mark.
Collinsworth had a great mismatch against Irvin Walker at 5'8". He's 6'8".
Boynton, that one sailing away, out of bounds, and Florida holds on to it.
Well, take a look at Jimmer Fredette's shot. And on the weak side, bottom right of your corner, look at the size advantage. Irvin Walker just helpless.
Well, did he even feel him when he went over his back right here, Lynn? I mean, get in the weight room, Walker.
I don't know if it's technique, man. Get down and learn how to block out. When you're that size, you have to.
Al Boynton will bring it in the front court. Second team All-SEC. They swing it. Parsons deep. Contested nicely by the Cougars.
That's exactly what the 2-3 zone is designated to do right there. Take tough shots, what Parsons just did.
Fredette shaking. Baseline jump shot. Off the heel for Hartside. BYU one and done.
And again, you saw Jimmer Fredette double team.
Deflection. 5th turnover for Florida.
You see where Fredette is? It's almost like he's the decoy, and they're making Florida play 4-on-4 defensively.
Now coming up on AT&T at the half, Greg Gumbel, Greg Anthony, Kenny Smith, and Sir Charles will take you out for a live look at the Connecticut versus San Diego State game on CBS, and they'll have the latest tournament news plus Naismith Watch presented by AT&T. That's all coming up on AT&T at the app. So Reggie, as many points as you scored as a professional and as a college player, as Florida brings it in the front court, Boynton, when you're getting as much attention as Fredette does, how do you get your offense going when it's not going?
Well, you know, the way he's struggling, he's missing long-range shots. If I'm Jimmer Fredette, the next time I'm out here, I'm trying to go to the basket to get a layup to get my rhythm. The good thing about it, the rest of his guys offensively are in the flow.
8:57 to play first half, 25-21. All right, a look at the tournament summary.
Yeah, what a huge boost for the Mountain West Conference. They should be awfully proud. And 11 Big East teams, only 2 left. They all 11 deserved it. The 2 that are here certainly earned it. And Butler, you want to win close games. Brad Stevens and company, that's the team to put your money on.
First they did it against...
Proverbially, of course.
Exactly, Old Dominion, and then against Pittsburgh, knocking out a #1 seed. Florida has led by as many as 10. BYU chipping away. Jimmer scoreless so far. And the ball knocked away, picked up. Wilbekin. Fourth turnover for BYU. Boynton. So here comes Jimmer into the front court. Down low, off the glass, no.
Jimmer had the right intentions. I talked about try to get into the paint, try to get something easy when your jump shot's not going down.
There's a foul right there.
Absolutely.
No call.
Fredette 0 for 5. Collinsworth in and out dribble to the bucket. Tried to squeeze it in, and Tyus takes it away. How do you like the pace, Reggie, to this game so far?
Well, right now, the pace, even though they're down, this is going to favor the BYU Cougars. Because if you can get into a frenetic pace, especially with your best player, Jimmer Fredette, averaging 29 points, 0 of 5, I like my chances.
However, Lenny, this Florida team getting anything they want offensively as that one gets knocked away.
Well, they haven't been putting it in the basket with regularity. They've gone into a mini slump. But in the end, yeah, they've been able to get the ball inside and play inside out, get good looks.
Wide open look there by Rogers. You've got to knock down those shots when you get those opportunities. Stingy as this Florida Gators defense is.
Tyus in the post, draws a double.
Yeah, Brigham Young's playing pretty much man-to-man, and that's what Florida needs to recognize. Get some isolations with their size.
Wilbekin off the front rim, cleared by Collinsworth. His fourth rebound.
Looks like both of these teams seem a little tired here, Gus, in this first half.
Fredette 0 for 6.
And you know, I just looked at Jimmer after that shot, and he kind of winced a little bit, like starting to question himself. And you can't do that when you're a shooter like him. It's got to be confidence all the way.
And there is a look of frustration on the superstar's face. Not for Tyus, however. 7 points in the first half for Alex Tyus, the senior from St. Louis. He averages 9 a game. Fredette. There you go. That's an easy one.
Well, you got to get to the hoop, and you try to get to the cup and try to get an easy one when you're struggling with your outside shot.
Well, doesn't that make you feel better? Instead of seeing 0 for, you get 1 or 2 easy ones and you see numbers up there.
Jimmer to the basket and a reaching foul coming up against Florida. 8 turnovers for the Gators. They've been sloppy with the rock. 6:02 to play in the first half. 27-23, Florida.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by the Volkswagen Jetta, HP, and by AT&T.
.602 to play in the first half, 27-23. And Reggie, let's interpret these numbers as we look at the game summary.
Well, you're wondering, for Florida, you're shooting 58%, but you have 8 turnovers, and you're only up by 4 points. With Jimmer Fredette, only 1 of 7 from the field. You're Dave Rose. You got to be very encouraged here in this first half.
So BYU with the basketball. Gators have led by as many as 10 in this game. Hartsock driving. Picks up his dribble.
And you can see whenever Jimmer gets the double team and then the defender gets back to his man, that defender, if he gets the ball, is going to be very aggressive to the basket, trying to make Florida pay.
Good job by Wilbekin, but you can't do anything about that.
Well, how about the body control there by Jimmer Fredette? We talked about Wilbekin using his chest on that one possession 3 or 4 minutes ago. It was Fredette using his chest to create space for that little leaner.
And when people talk about the next level, that's going to serve Jimmer Fredette very well to have that upper body strength, take the bumps, and still be able to score.
Knocked away out of Walker's hands, but he comes up with the steal. Great quickness. Wilbekin for 3. And here comes BYU. Pick and roll, Hartsock Fredette splits it to the basket, rejected. Picked up, jump shot in the corner, and that's short for Rogers. Walker ahead of the field, straight to the basket. Left hand up, and it rims off. Rebounded and fouled Patrick Young, the freshman.
Jimmer Fredette, we talked about him using his chest and his body right here. This is good defense here by the freshman, Scotty Wilbekin, but look at right there as you just use that little shoulder and chest to create that little fadeaway. Tough shot there by Jimmer.
Actually broke the plane of verticality on that. Some people might have called that an offensive foul, but they're letting him play.
So at the free throw line, Patrick Young, freshman from Jacksonville, Florida.
Look at the body on this kid. I mean, a true freshman to come in with shoulders and arms like that has definitely spent time in Billy Donovan's weight room. His offense has not caught up with him, but his defense, especially coming off the bench, blocking shots, huge here for Billy Donovan.
Fredette off a screen. BYU can take the lead with the 3, tied up with the 2, and a foul. Hardsock will go to the line. TBS Monday. Conan's got Jake Gyllenhaal and Randy Jackson. Don't miss an all-new Conan Monday at 11:10 Central, only on TBS.
And you saw Hardsock's move right there. Put it on the floor, go to the basket. Every time Jimmer Fredette comes off a double and the guy who was on the double, the big man, recovers, by the time he gets there, his guy is receiving and putting it on the floor hard. You catch him mid-rotation.
And Len Hardsock coming off a very solid game against Gonzaga as you take a look at his numbers.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's taking advantage of the defenses being played against Jimmer Fredette. Stay aggressive.
And then let me ask you a question. If you're Dave Rose, when do you think about bringing back Emory? He has 2 fouls with 9 points.
But right now, a tie game. I'd sit him as long as I need to. Long as Florida stays within touch. Have him with just 2 fouls beginning the second half if necessary.
So after trailing by 10, BYU comes back to tie it up at 27. They're on a mini 6-0 run. Parsons driving down the lane in the corner. Walker and hits. He is Mr. Clutch for the Florida Gators. Jimmer trying to answer. Macklin with the rebound. His 3rd. Walker again.
You know, you got to test Jimmer's legs right now. He's seen an awful lot of action. Guys doubling and tripling him.
Jump hook, Macklin, in and out. And Steven Rogers has done a nice job rebounding, his 3rd.
It's a pretty good look there by Macklin.
Will he be rewarded? Back. Rogers, pure on the 3.
Isn't that usually what happens? You miss a point-blank layup at one end, and the team gets an uncontested 3 at the other.
Tied at 30, Walker, hesitation. Parsons, quick release. And picked up by the Cougars. Here comes BYU with the chance to take the lead. Jimmer faking, stepping back, crossing over. Forcing it up. Wow. Oh, and in.
I see it. I see it. I get it.
32-30, folks. March Madness in the Big Easy. And they've got it going. Walker. And a whistle. That's a traveling violation.
Well, Jimmer Fredette obviously doesn't want to take the long range, but he's strong enough to take it to the hole. And look at that handle.
2:40 to play first half. BYU up by a deuce. Welcome back to New Orleans. BYU up by 2.
When you're a shooter and scorer like Jimmer Fredette is, just because you're struggling from the outside and not making your long-range shots, you've got to go into your bag. You've got to have other moves, and we've seen that. Him go to the hole with that tough left-hand layup. He used his body against the freshman Scotty Wilbekin. You've got to go into your bag of tricks when you're a scorer. You have a plethora of shots that's at your disposal.
Well, I think that timeout certainly helped him because he's had to work awfully hard against the double teams, had to dribble and move a lot more, and those long-range shots aren't falling because he's had to shoot with his legs. Now, momentarily, I'm sure they'll come back, but initially that's what it's about. But the guy has a high enough basketball IQ, put it on the floor and make easier shots.
And what's even more important is his teammates have picked him up. Although a turnover there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Irving Walker is going to have to do a better job of boxing out. That's 2 offensive rebounds that the BYU Cougars have just basically gone over his back.
Yeah, and the reason why they don't call it is because he's not in block-out position. You got to get down, make contact, and then the officials will make the call. You're standing straight up expecting it to fall in your hands. Not happening.
And that is the second foul called on Magnuson, who came up with that offensive rebound. 32-30. Florida now with the ball. Boynton steps back, feeds the post. Macklin draws a double. Wilbekin has done a great job on defense for Florida. Number 5, White. He's a freshman. Drives baseline and a bump and a foul.
Number 21, Stephen Rogers, his first. 15th foul.
Look at the front court size, Lynn, here now for the Florida Gators. They need to do a better job of controlling these boards and crash the offensive boards, or keep them off the defensive boards at the other end.
Yeah, they ultimately invert them on the defensive end, so the bigs have to go outside because the Brigham Young bigs shoot it so well. But no straight post-ups, and now Brigham Young's going back to the zone. Not a lot of straight post-ups because Brigham Young active and doubling the post.
Parsons with the 3, and Florida takes the lead. Chandler Parsons with 8 points in the first half.
Good first half on 3 of 6 shooting.
Fredette again with the left hand. And that right-to-left crossover has been working for him.
And again, another close range shot.
Baseline, Macklin, and a foul.
You're talking about the left to right crossover right here. Look at this. Just gets into the teeth of the defense right there, using his body against Boynton. I'm not quite sure if this is a block here, gentlemen. That's
it's a foul. Got him
with the body?
No, he got him across the arm. Got him across his elbow.
Excuse me, Reggie, the right to left crossover because he's been using that left hand awfully well for Jimmer Fredette. As Wilbekin checks out of the game. Along with Uget. Tyus back in. Abuo picks up the foul, his first. Macklin, the redshirt senior from Portsmouth, at the line. And that second free throw, no good. BYU up by a point. As Jimmer walks it into the front court.
Florida only 1 of 4 from the free throw line in this first half.
You see, once again, Macklin steps up as a roadblock. Hard to get off those outside shots. That's why he goes inside.
Jimmer Fredette going to the bucket. Walker for 3. Got it. We are watching 2 prolific guards, both from the New York area, get busy.
Exchanging body blows. But that time, Jimmer Fredette is now recognizing when the doubles come out top with a big guy, he can put it on the floor and there's nobody there to block the shot.
Fredette telling his teammates to spread the floor. Remember, Reggie, he told us that growing up, he watched Stephon Marbury, Kenny Anderson, Sebastian Telfair get to the basket. He knew he needed to add that to his game. So when he needs to go to the hole, he knows how to get there. And a foul.
Well, this has been the one constant for Fredette here in this first half. Just look at the dancing. There's 3 Florida Gators right there. He just splits them all and uses the glass for the lay-in.
His jump shot, however, extremely flat. Dave Rose.
How was that a foul on Fredette? They were both going for a loose ball there, Lynn. I'm not quite sure about that.
Looked like a judgment call that Jimmer Fredette fell on top of Irvin Walker. You're right. When guys are going after, they're both entitled to the ball.
So Walker at the line, 14 points in the first half. That's his season average. As he misses the front end of the 1-and-1. And that's the end of the first half, and what a half it was. Florida led by as many as 10. They turned the ball over, though, 10 times in the first half and let BYU get back into it. 36-36 the score at the break. Let's go to Marty Snyder, and he's joined by Billy the Kid.
Yeah, Billy, you were able to shut down Jimmer for 13.5 minutes. How did you do it?
Well, he's a great player, but you know, BYU's team has not made it this far and won 32 games all because of him, and that's why they're in the game. You know, he didn't score a lot of points, but the score is tied. So we did a pretty good job. He's going to take shots. He's going to make some shots, and he got some drives late. And he made a couple tough twos where they were challenged, but you got to move to the next play when he does that.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you,
Gus.
All right, Marty, that's the end of the first half with the score. Florida 36, BYU 36. Jimmer 10 points in the first half. We'll send you to AT&T at the half after these messages. (36-36) BYU Florida tied at halftime. Coming up, the second half from the Big Easy right after this.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, the Miller Lite Home Draft, Charles Schwab, and by DirecTV.
Halftime in New Orleans, BYU, Florida tied up at 36. And welcome back, everybody. Gus Johnson, Reggie Miller, Len Elmore. First half dominated by the guards.
Well, Irving Walker was spectacular in that first half, and I really thought he was very aggressive taking the ball to the basket. We talked about his size at 5'8", but at 5'8", he's able to finish. The nice little escape dribble right there. And this is the one we questioned if it was an and one or not, but 3 of 4 in that first half from downtown with 12 points.
Well, Jimmer Fredette stymied early by pretty good defense, man-to-man coming off doubles. Started to get this figured out by splitting the double teams, knowing that there are no bigs back there to block shots, and he's had some success.
All right, let's take a look behind the stats presented by LG.
Well, you take a look, 10 points by Jimmer Fredette, 5 of 14. He's starting to heat up.
And moments ago, our Marty Snyder had a chance to walk and talk with BYU head coach Dave Rose.
Well, David, took Jimmer 13 minutes and 45 seconds to score. Was he starting to get frustrated a little bit?
They're doing a great job on him. I think that they're switching things up, and you know, the rest of our guys have hit shots, got us back in the game, and then Jimmer helped us kind of get to the half. But I think he feels good about how things are going.
All right, thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, this game is brought to you in HD TV by LG. Life's good. Gus Johnson, Len Elmore, Reggie Miller, Marty Snyder with you from New Orleans. So, what is the adjustment for Jimmer Fredette as we start the second half? The long-range shots weren't falling.
Well, shooters continue to shoot. We know that Jimmer is going to continue to have the basketball in his hands. So, and all it takes is 1 or 2, especially in those pick and roll situations. Let's give credit to Florida, Kenny Boynton, for doing a good job of using his size, along with the freshman Scotty Wilbekin.
Also, they both have gotten help. The bigs are hedging out, making it difficult for Fredette to get an open look, but he's gotten smart enough to try to split it, get past the big help, and then pretty much unimpeded to the basket. But the one thing that's important, the big guys for Florida have to do their jobs. They're -2 in rebounding is Florida, and Brigham Young with 7 offensive rebounds, increased possession.
Boynton, his first shot off the mark of the second half in the front court. Abuo kicks it out deep in the corner. Emery, long rebound, and it's tracked down by Collinsworth. And look at Fredette. It looks like he has a hitch in his gait. Not sure if something's wrong with his lower body, but pay attention. He splits it to the basket, hangs in the air. Good defense by Alex Tyus.
Well, we talked about the wince earlier. I don't think it was because of that missed shot. It might have been something that's wrong, as you mentioned, Gus. to his health.
And Marty has more on Jimmer.
Jimmer came by me and was limping a little bit as he walked out of the locker room, and I asked one of the SID people, is he okay? And they said, yes, he's fine, nothing, no problems there. I did ask Dave Rose, can he play all 40 minutes? He said he's done it 5 of the last 6 games. The only thing I worry about is his defense if we do play him 40, Gus.
All right, he plays 36 minutes a game on the season, knocked out of bounds.
But I will say, what I saw was a frustration, a look like, man, I'm not hitting this, and maybe questioning himself. You know, there's a difference between that and being hurt.
Well, and the reason why he can play the rest of this half is because BYU is going to go to that 2-3 zone at some point in time. They're starting off here in man-to-man, but they usually like to drop back into that 2-3.
Well, they're in it now.
3-2 zone.
They're in it right now.
Now Macklin, Parsons, Boynton, Walker, Tyus on the floor for Florida. Walker has been, as you mentioned, awesome. 14 points in the first half for Irving Walker. On 5 of 7 shooting to the basket for Dad. Right hand this time as he beat the Gators down the floor.
I'll tell you what, Kenny Boynton, after that score, is asking, okay, where's my help? He funneled them to the bigs, and everybody had their backs covered.
Ah, interesting. Before the start of the second half, Jimmer getting that calf worked on.
Well, remember when we were watching practice yesterday, he had those full-length tights on, and that's usually for blood circulation in your legs and probably to keep that calf in a warm position.
You wore those at the end of your career.
I didn't wear the full ones, but yeah, you wore those during practice to keep your legs warm during practice and so forth.
See, we never heard of that. We just wore the high socks.
And the Chuck Taylors. Macklin. Beautiful weaving, Lenny, on the baseline for the big man.
And it's about time Florida got their bigs involved. Brigham Young doing a nice job of double team, and there Macklin goes away from the double team baseline. Quick move to the basket. Take a look right there. Quick move to the basket, splits that double and goes strong. And they got to get some mileage out of Vernon Macklin with his size and ability on the low block.
Adds a free throw. He's a 46% free throw shooter and ties the game up at 39. 2 minutes into the second half. The winner advancing to the Elite Eight to take on the winner of our next game between the Wisconsin Badgers and the Butler Bulldogs. Baseline. Hartsock short. Parsons will rake and take his 5th rebound.
Yeah, he was getting some pretty good looks. Wide open three-pointers that they have not been able to knock down.
Inside, deflected, picked up by Jackson Emery.
See if Emery can get going offensively like he did at the beginning of that first half.
Another deflection, this time by Macklin. Walker, crosstown traffic, the kick, Boynton rising. Count it.
Florida creating offense from their defense. Deflections, loose balls, long rebounds.
Boynton with 6 points, both threes.
Yeah, to Reggie's point, kind of like what BYU did in the first half. 7 steals, which mean live ball opportunities. Push it up before the defense gets set.
Boynton off a screen. Parsons deep. Tyus working hard, but just couldn't hold on. Coverage of the Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues Saturday on ESPN. Regional semifinal action gets underway at noon Eastern as the Tennessee Lady Vols battle the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Dayton Regional. For more information on other matchups and games, go to NCAA.com, and it's very interesting. Reggie, you're one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA, but your sister is the greatest female player of all time by far.
By far.
Baseline jump shot off the heel. Abuo with the rebound. That one popping out.
Yeah, Florida dodged one on that one. Again, the bigs have to do a better job limiting those offensive rebounds. Ooh.
That's kind of odd for their Walker to miss a wide open layup.
Abuo drop step inside, left hand short, tried to tap it, no. Tyus pushes it. Baseline, Walker. Tyus, turnaround jumper. Good.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know Florida is up 5, but if I'm Billy Donovan, this pace scares me because at some point in time, you see right there, Jimmer Fredette, he's going to get going offensively. And if they keep playing at this frenetic pace, is going to favor Brigham Young.
That's a possibility, but they're softening Jimmer Fredette out. That last defense took something out of it. And you take a look at the stars tonight for Florida, they're pretty much distributing the ball nicely. You got a lot of guys getting involved.
And Alex Tyus has really delivered a very solid game as that third scorer for Florida.
Well, something that he's not known for. He's in there for defense and rebounding. Tyus already 9 points, 86 total on the season.
As I said, Fredette driving to the basket now. The bigs are going to make him pay. They're not really in foul trouble. When he drives to the basket, they're going to knock him down.
That's okay. He's a shooter. He's a scorer. He doesn't mind going to the free throw line. It gives them a chance to rest and reset their defense. So
it does.
You're going to foul him. That's okay.
It takes something out of guys, so can't tell me it doesn't.
Boynton to Parsons, 8 to shoot. Being pressed by Collinsworth. Parsons frees himself. Beautiful.
Tough shot there.
And he's looking at the official. He wants the call, but hey, let him play.
Jimmer deep. Oh, and he gets the roll.
Now that's a shooter.
Touch.
That's a shooter right there with that touch.
46-44.
See what I'm saying, Lynn? He gets fouled. He's getting a rhythm. Comes down, pulls up in the open court for a 30-footer. This is what I want to see. Jimmer time from 30.
Gus Johnson.
Thank you very much, Greg. Our score here, 46-44. Florida with the lead. Gators led by as many as 10 in the first half. Wilbekin is checked back in for Florida.
And again, Brigham Young back in that 2-3, and Florida attacks it from the perimeter.
Boynton starting to warm up. 9 points, 3 threes. 49-44.
For Dave Rose, you're going to have to start thinking about possibly going back to that man-to-man because there's too many wide-open threes here for the Gators.
And the danger in that, though, is that the bigs for Florida are starting to come alive a little bit down low. Tough matchup for them in a man situation.
Now watch the games and get live box score, stats, and social media updates with NCAA March Madness On Demand for all this and more. Head to mmod.ncaa.com. Fredette. Wilbekin doing a nice job on him. Cross the lane, pull-up jump shot, and that is pure. Beautiful release for Logan Magnuson. He now has 6, 2 threes.
What I like about Fredette being the bait down there. You think he's going to post up and get into the lane, finds Magnuson, wide open 3.
Fredette with 4 assists in this game. Parsons. And a rebound to the Cougars. Jimmer may have tweaked his calf muscle. Doesn't have the elevation on his jumper. Hartsock.
Hartsock is going to have to make some of these shots. Fredette is getting double and triple team when he's down there in that mid-post level, drawing the defense to him.
Hartsock 1 of 5 from the field. And you're absolutely right, Reggie. They need his scoring. He averages 9 a game. Walker. Bowling pass inside. Jump hook. Young. Nice box out by Magnuson, rather. Inside. Hartsock, can he get it? Yes, he can.
What did we say? He has to be, first of all, he's maybe the 3rd best shooter on this BYU team behind Fredette and Jackson Emery. So when he knocks down shots, he's 44% shooter from deep.
50-49, BYU. The winner to advance to the Elite 8. Parsons driving, stopping, bouncing, beautiful.
Passing in a phone booth. Chandler Parsons excellent at that. Nice bounce pass, which is a lost start.
Will you get the freshman from Bordeaux, France with the bucket? Inside, Inside, rejected, and recovered by Parsons. Bill Russell is smiling somewhere, and he brings it up the floor and lost it.
Well, he's not smiling now with that turnover on the break there by Parsons. But he's the most versatile player maybe in the country at 6'10". His ability to handle the basketball, block shots, run the floor.
Fredette, and an offensive foul. Great call. Jimmer out of control.
But we need to take a look at Florida and how interior passing can work to their benefit once they get it into the lane. And on the other end, Fredette, here's the help. Standing right there. Boy, that was pretty close. He tried to split. The defender was there, but it looked like he might have avoided that. And the officials.
Technical foul on Emery. Looks like he said something to one of the officials. And Boynton is at the line.
I was going to say, and the officials kind of bit on the act because it didn't look like enough contact to draw the offensive foul.
No, that's not an offensive foul.
And Boynton getting the first. Dave Rose can't believe it. Look at that look on his face.
But to say that it wasn't an offensive foul, we know because we had the benefit of replay. That's a bang-bang situation for these officials. Toughest call to make.
53-50 Florida. Jackson Emery teed up. And the Gators with the basketball, under 12 to go. It's been back and forth. 4 ties, 8 lead changes in this game. Boynton.
BYU back to the man-to-man.
Now Walker on the hop. Gets his own rebound. Boynton frees himself downtown. And the rebound to Jimmer.
Tell you what, that close by Emery forced Boynton to put it on the floor, took his rhythm away.
Fredette trying to rock his man. He's got Tyus on him now. He can take him off the bounce.
Oh, he got Wilbekin back on the switch. And that's what they want to do. They want to hedge and get it out of his hands.
Excuse me, steal. Boynton driving to the hole on the hop and a foul. They are moving and grooving in New Orleans, folks. Gators up by 3 at the line.
Gus Johnson and company. Gus.
All right, 53-50 our score. You're right, it's tight here in New Orleans. Gators at the line with the lead, and this kid has done a fantastic job. Kenny Boynton, sophomore from Pompano Beach, Florida. He has 11 points, and Reggie, he had 3 at halftime.
Well, 11 points, but also guarding Jimmer Fredette, who's 7 of 18, 1 of 6 from three-point land. So he's getting it done at both ends of the floor.
Yeah, and when you talk about the defense, I mean, he's done a nice job of challenging long shots, but he's definitely funneled to the bigs.
And let's take a look at the Infinity Coaches Spotlight. Dave Rose, he has led this BYU team to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1981, and he's a man that's been able to battle adversity. 6 years ago, he beat a form of pancreatic cancer. Coach Rose, a member of that Phi Slamma Jamma team with Clyde Drexler. Jimmer.
Just a simple pinch post action right there and a flare screen there for Fredette, allowing him to get wide open. Now Dave Rose is elected to go to the man-to-man, which to me, I think this is better for them.
Fredette now with 21 points on 8 of 19 shooting, 2 of 7 from the three-point line.
And I agree with you, Lynn. Yeah, when you go to man-to-man, it kind of exposes Fredette, but
Macklin, woo! Big fella.
That's nice.
Pounding it down. He has 7.
Well, the man-to-man gives Florida a chance for that. Penetrate and find people as they try to rotate.
Emery dumps it down.
Nice.
Beautiful interior passing as Hartsock picks up his 9th point.
And if you're Jackson Emery, when you've got the smaller Irving Walker on you, I like that. Taking him to the mid-post, throw it down there to him. You know they're going to have to double-team him.
Macklin jump hook. Lenny.
Well, as I said, the man-to-man exposes BYU to their size disadvantage or the height advantage of Florida, however you want to interpret it.
And Macklin cuffing that rebound. 58-55, his 5th rebound.
Too quick a shot there if you're Emory. Move the basketball because you can shoot that anytime over Irv Walker.
Boynton off a screen. Skip it. Dump it. Tyus. Oh, he tried to bang it. Got it back and draws the foul. Beautiful.
Well,
Alex Tyus is having an incredible game.
Well, that was a beautiful block at first, but how about Tyus sticking with it? There goes the nice mano a mano block. And Boykin gets into the lane right there, and there's the block there by Hartsock. The follow back by Tyus.
But you see what the penetration is doing right now off the bounce. The 2-3 kind of dissuades you from trying to penetrate off the dribble.
And he adds a free throw. Logan Magnuson picks up his 4th foul. He'll have to check out of the game. And coming in, Kyle Collinsworth. Now the winner of this game will advance to the Elite Eight and take on the winner of our next game between Butler and Wisconsin.
Guess it's fair to say that that game won't have this kind of feel with the up and down pace.
And Jimmer Fredette and Boynton now with some words for each other.
Actually, it's Jimmer talking to the official. Boynton was ignoring him. He's asking for a foul. He thought he got touched on the shoulder. And he's still talking to the official.
And that's why Boynton's getting ready to get wide open.
Mismatch now. Fredette on Macklin. Boynton batted around. Fredette saves it. And the Cougars hold on. Here comes Jimmer. And he's limping a bit. Crosses over. Strip. Boynton. Macklin. Downtown. What a pace to this game. Rogers the other way. Parsons back to the basket. Rejected.
There is nothing safe here.
In the corner, Rogers around the rim. No. Hartsock working hard. And he missed the chippy. Walker with Boynton on the wing. Crosses over. Wraps it around and out of bounds. Last touch by Florida.
We're going to take a look at that block. Goes up. That looked like it was on the way up. Yep, it wasn't in the cylinder, right before the cylinder. Still on the way up. Good job by the trailing Alex Tyus.
Right now, someone in the stands throwing money on the floor. Jim looks like he may have a cut.
Yeah, I was going to say under the chin. He's taking a beating now. I mean, even out on the floor, he's hit the deck several times.
Hey, it's physical. But this is a chance to move on to the Elite Eight.
It's physical.
So these officials are going to let him play, Lynn.
He's a tough kid, though. He'll bounce back, but you know it's got to take its toll. And you can see him slowing down now, giving the ball up even.
Fredette, quick release. And Jimmer Fredette. The shots from long range haven't been falling. Right now, he has 21 points, and he's 8 of 20. Make that 8 of 21. Parsons steps out. And a rebound and a foul coming up against Florida. 7:25 to play. Second half. Gators up 61-55.
Orleans and Gus.
Wow, tough game out there. The winner will take on the winner of Duke, Arizona, coming up next. 61-55 the score here. The Florida Gators with the lead and with 7:25 remaining. Florida on every foul from this point on will be shooting 1-1 for Dad, and he's fouled.
And if you're going to play Jimmer Fredette, Lynn, you are alluding to this, that you have to play him physical. Every time he's driving to the basket, 2-3 Gators around him, taking charges, putting bodies on him, wrapping around, stripping him. How many times have we seen Jimmer Fredette go to the floor? It's almost like a boxer. Over time, he's going to try to start to wear you down a little bit as the later as the rounds go.
Yeah, it's just similar to body blows, and eventually it starts to take your stamina away.
Let's join Marty Snyder on the sideline.
Gus, real quick, heard from the BYU bench. Jimmer's calf is bothering him a little bit. Certainly not enough to come out of the game, and he has 2 bandages on that cut on his chin.
Parsons driving. Good look, Boynton. And Parsons grabs the rebound.
Boy, how did Parsons get that pass off? He was surrounded by blue shirts.
9 rebounds for Parsons. Wilbekin, pick and roll inside. Young clears space. And he went right through Hartsock.
Young Macklin, too big for the interior size of BYU.
And that's why that man-to-man is so difficult for BYU to play against this team.
Baseline. And a whistle and foul. Now for instant analysis and highlights of every tournament game, log on to SI.com. And at the free throw line, Steven Rogers. And it's worth mentioning, and the story has been covered a number of times, that BYU is playing without one of its best front court players for the 7th straight game, Brandon Davies.
Well, Davies makes a huge difference on this team, particularly inside. You know, he can score, he can pass, and he can defend. And, you know, obviously the honor code is very important to Brigham Young University. And the young man, you know, admitted his violation, and a lot of people have stood up for him in support. But, you know, the sanction is the sanction. He'll live with it. He's out there with his teammates. You can see that there's a closeness among them. And hopefully for them, he'll be back.
And let's go join Marty Snyder with more on Davies.
Real quick on Davies, I did check with the school. There is a review process for the honor code violations, and he is in the process of going through that right now. But it is not guaranteed that he'll be back with the team next year, nor is it guaranteed that he'll be in school. That will be determined once his process is over with.
Fredette with the steal. Parsons with him. Fredette to the bucket. Finger roll for Jimmer. And BYU cuts it to 3. Fredette with 25 now.
And that's 6'1" going against 6'10" in the open court, Lynn. That's nice body control there by Fredette.
And he beat him to the spot, too, but that was just a bad play on the penetration by Walker. Didn't have a shot, just threw it out there for grabs. And Jimmer was Johnny on the spot.
Now Parsons, who's been excellent tonight as well. Wilbekin to the basket. Too strong. And the rebound goes to BYU. Kyle Collinsworth, his 10. Here comes Jimmer. Long range.
Are you kidding me?
He's got his J back, folks, and the eye of the Tiger. 4:56 to play. We're tied at 56. Fredette shooting that one from Provo.
Jimmer Fredette has just tied this basketball game up. And look at the range right here, just inside the ribbon here. 3 of 10 from downtown for Jimmer. And people always ask me, did you shoot more, Reg, with your legs or your arm? I was more of an arm shooter. Jimmer Fredette is more of a leg shooter, and that was evident on that shot right there.
Beautiful play as Macklin finds Parsons cutting to the basket, and Florida back on top by 2.
Yeah, there's no way to defend that shot by
there's
Jimmer
nothing
Fredette.
you can do.
The only thing you can do is come back on the other end and answer.
Abuo. Fredette again.
No,
not that time.
Way off. And you could tell, used his legs, but he started leaning.
See how he was drifting to the right, coming off that screen?
He figured he'd try one more time, you know.
Heat check.
Well, he's trying to, we talked about this being somewhat of a boxing match. Right now, he's trying to throw the overhand right to knock him out.
Walker, Parsons again, Boynton, off the back rim. Collinsworth with the rebound to Fredette. Got to pick him up as soon as he crosses the midcourt line. Jimmer inside on Walker and a foul, and he noticed that there was a smaller player on him, and he'll go to the line. 65-63. Back after this.
Reggie and Marty.
And thank you very much, Greg. And you know, UConn, if they can keep it close with the player like Kimball Walker, they can win. Similar situation here. Player like Jimmer Fredette as we look at the game summary.
Well, both teams aren't shooting the ball particularly well, but to me, it's been the turnovers in Jimmer. 28 points, but only on 24 field goal attempts.
As he gets it first, check out the Powerade Ion 4-point performance ranking system to get a peek into the science behind tournament success. See where your team ranks at ncaa.com/Powerade. Fredette with both free throws.
You take a look at both of these teams, and they are living beyond the arc. A lot of penetration, a lot of kicks. 59 total three-point attempts between the two teams.
Jimmer with 30. Ties it at 65. 3:30 to play for a trip to the Final 8. Tyus, baseline. He's been wonderful. Alex Tyus. 14 points. 11 rebounds and a block. Here's Jimmer with Boynton on him, driving to the basket.
He sort of, the lane closed with the big starting to block the path to the basket. Good kick out.
And he'll get it back.
Smart decision there for Jimmer to go get the basketball. Put the ball in your playmaker's hand.
Here's a screen to the bucket. And he ties it at 67. He's got 32.
That time the lane didn't close. The C's parted.
8 ties. 8 lead changes.
And see what happens when you knock down a couple threes. It opens up those alleyways to the basket if you're Fredette.
2:33 to go.
Now this guy with the basketball, Walker's hit some big shots for Florida this season.
Macklin turns it over. Emery. Abuo to the hole. High off the glass. No. He rushed it.
Well, he rushed it and he knew the bigs were trailing. He certainly should have made that. If he used his left hand, probably would have scored.
Walker. Macklin. And a foul. But a very interesting foul. If you're BYU, Macklin going to the line. He's a 46% free throw shooter.
That's a good foul, too. And Florida in this game only 6 of 12 from the charity stripe.
Macklin 1 of 3. TNT this June, they're turning the courtroom upside down. This much fun should be illegal. Franklin and Bash, series premiere this June, only TNT.
Well, if I'm Dave Rose and BYU, I really want to put Jimmer, but I liked when he threw it into that pinch post.
Woo! Parsons hustling on the free throw line, and Florida will get it again. Game tied at 67, 2:06 to play for a trip to the Elite Eight. And now the Coke Zero impressive moment.
Jimmer Fredette off the fast break. You think he's going to come off a pick and roll? What does he do? Just raises up from 30 feet, knocking down his 3rd tray of the evening.
Fredette, 32 points, but Florida gets the ball back. Walker, Tyus, Macklin, Boynton, and Parsons.
And if you're BYU, you should have known to block out against Macklin, being only a 40% free throw shooter.
Boynton, Parsons up top. And he was fouled on that play. His arm was hit, but no call. Somebody got him on the elbow on the release.
Well, I tell you what, where he got him was right at the wrist action. And a lot of times the officials are very hesitant to call that. A lot of times they like to go with hand being part of the ball.
Fredette again. Tapped around. Tyus with a rebound, and he's fouled. And he'll go to the line and shoot 1-and-1 with 1:38 to play.
Look, I've seen Fredette knock down these shots on a number of times, but when you get the switch with Macklin on you, that's when you need to back it up and then go at him. You don't need to raise up from 28 feet. That's why they were so successful last year in the first round when they met one another, is when Florida switched and the big was on Fredette, he attacked the big as opposed to just settling for a 28-footer.
I think he was surprised that Macklin actually was going to challenge that shot.
Meanwhile, Alex Tyus at the free throw line, taking the lead for Florida. As he misses the second, 15 points, 13 rebounds, a block for Tyus, 68-67. Now Fredette gives it up to get it back. Spinning. Guarded by Boynton, who's really locking in on it. 1:20 to go. Macklin.
He's just holding them.
Crossover. Off the back rim. Fredette going cold here. And a timeout called by Florida. 1:10 to play. Second half. Florida by a penny. We'd like to welcome those of you who just watched Connecticut defeat San Diego State. Our score is 68-67. The Florida Gators a 2 taking on the BYU Cougars a 3, and we've got a 1-point game.
And if you're Billy Donovan right here, time is on your side. So you want to run some offense here. You want to run time off the clock. They can get anything they want, especially down low. Macklin and Tyus have been fantastic in the post.
Each team in the bonus.
Well, that's the point, to get it down low. As Brigham Young with 9 team fouls, the next one puts Florida in the double bonus. 2 shots for every foul.
Macklin, double team, dribbles out of it. 9 to shoot. Walker rims out and a foul. And now BYU will shoot 1-1. Tyus over the back of Kyle Collinsworth.
I think this is a pretty tough call right now. They look like plenty of room between the two of those guys. Now, from the official's angle, maybe it looked different. There was contact, no question. But the way they've been calling it today, that earlier was no call.
So Kyle Collinsworth, the freshman from Provo, gets the front end to tie it at 68. Gentlemen, as you look at the clock, what's the strategy for Florida if Collinsworth hits this free throw?
Well, I'm sure Billy Donovan's going to call a timeout. Plenty of time here for the Florida.
And he missed the second. Donovan allows him to play on. Now he calls a timeout. Absolutely right, Reggie. 35.4 to go, folks. 27 on the shot clock. We're tied at 68. Welcome back as we reset it for you. Both teams shooting 1-1. And Len, what's the strategy for Florida?
Well, first of all, you tell you guys you only have one more timeout. All right? Make sure everybody knows that. Secondly, arrow pointing in your favor, so any tie-up, you don't have to call timeout. Let them tie up, we get the ball back. Now, as far as the player's concerned, depending on the defense BYU comes out with, if it's man-to-man, you're going to spread, try to work inside out. And if it's a zone, you're going to get to the short corners and try to move the ball.
So here's Parsons. Walker goes away from the ball. He pops out. 20 to shoot, guarded by Jimmer. Walker curling, kicking, Boynton deep, off the heel. Walker with the rebound. And Florida will play for one shot. Shot clock turned off. And Billy Donovan calls a timeout. 14.9 to go. Gators with the ball. We're tied. And welcome back as we reset it for you. Florida with the basketball, no timeouts.
Well, it's very important you be able to get the basketball in. You saw a very important call when 5 seconds wasn't in already early on in one of these games. Now, if you're Boynton or Walker, you can get into the lane. If you can get into the lane and suck this BYU defense, you can get any shot you want.
If you're BYU, do you foul?
No. Why would you foul? It's a tie ball game.
You're playing for overtime right now if you're BYU.
Here's Walker. Parsons, 4 seconds, driving. No! And we're going to overtime. Jimmer Fredette pumping his fist.
I'll tell you what, wasn't very well conceived coming out of that timeout. The isolation, you look at the collapse on Parsons. Never really got a shot off, a good look, I should say. That's tough.
Abuo doing a good job using that body against Parsons.
Jimmer with 32 points. We're tied at 68, heading to overtime. All right, folks, last year in the first round, Jimmer Fredette scored 37 points and hit 2 3-pointers in double overtime to seal the Cougars' 99-92 win over 10th seeded Florida in Oklahoma City. Now we go to overtime in New Orleans.
Well, and remember, he had 23 at the end of regulation in that game, and then 14 more points to end up with those 37. So if you're Billy Donovan, you've got to remind your players, this kid is as good as it gets in those extra sessions. So there's got to be even more attention to Jimmer here.
Yeah, experience is the best teacher, though, and the guys that got burned last year are out there on the floor. They certainly learned. You'd think they'd learn their lesson.
9 ties, 8 lead changes. Florida in the first half led by as many as 10. BYU's largest lead has been 3. Gators with the ball to start the overtime session. Irving Walker to Parsons. He takes a 3. The rebound, ties it, stag back.
That's a man's rebound right there. You go up with both hands. You have the guy on your back. Strong move there by Tyus, who's played fantastic.
And Fredette missing his first shot. Walker the other way. Now Walker quickly across the lane. Boynton, floater.
Boy, the Gators have come out with a ton of energy here in overtime, and I'm sure it's reminiscent of last year. They understand exactly how you got to approach this overtime.
I can't remember the last time Jimmer Fredette's been in the paint to make a move. Everything's been a jump shot.
Tried to wrap it around, and he travels.
This rebound by Alex Tyus kind of negates the big offensive call over the back in regulation. That was a big one for BYU, and here's the bucket by Boynton. Gets in the paint, elevates, and hits.
(72-68) in overtime. Florida off to a quick start, guys.
This is a huge defensive possession here for BYU. You do not want to go down 6 early on here in this overtime period.
Irving Walker trots into the front court.
Yeah, it will be still a 2-possession ball game, but the bottom line is psychologically you want to know at least you can make some stuff.
Walker to the basket, in and out. Tyus with a rebound, but over the back.
Oh man, I'm not sure about that one.
Wow.
Tyus has been fantastic on the offensive glass.
Shot goes
game.
up. Look, he's in good position. Boy, oh boy, they're just going after the ball. The ball was still loose.
I thought he was the first off his feet to the basketball end.
He was victimized at the end of regulation with a big call over the back, which again, what looked like there was some room, but it might have been some contact, but the officials haven't been calling it that way most of the game.
Abuo, a 75% free throw shooter, gets the first. He has 3 points. Tyus picked up his 3rd foul.
You know, I like what Boynton and Walker are doing. They're continuing to attack the middle of the paint. And if they're missing the shots, Macklin and Tyus are doing a good job of getting hands on the basketball.
Yeah, first thing they got to do is continue to get position, because that's really what's saving the day for them on the offensive glass.
Inside Macklin, outside Boynton, up top.
Inside out.
17 points for Boynton. He had 3 at halftime. Florida by 3. Emery trying to answer, and another rebound for Tyus.
Again, Reggie, you mentioned it earlier, quick shots. They're not exploring the Florida defense, and they're recognizing a lot of pressure on Jimmer. Other guys have to be involved, but you got to move the ball in order to get them optimal shots.
And a foul against BYU.
Well, Lynn, this is what you talked about, playing inside out. The ball goes down to Macklin. You see 3 blue jerseys around him, just knocks it out to Kenny Boynton and for the wide open 3.
Shooting the double bonus, Irving Walker.
So Irving Walker shooting 2 now. 10 team fouls against the Cougars.
I thought Jackson Emery started off in that first half with those quick 9 points. He still has 9 points. I think those 2 fouls really took him out of his rhythm.
(76-70). BYU 3 timeouts remaining. Florida with 1.
If they ever needed a big 3 from Fredette, it would be right here.
Again, defense holding.
Collinsworth driving to the basket. Hayes and gets it with the left hand.
They'll live with that. Defense holding Fredette, the big guys, off the screen until the defender gets there. But once again, as they did early in the first half, as soon as someone else receives the ball, they aggressively attack the rim because they know that the help side is not there.
Collinsworth is holding his ankle.
Boynton. Alex Tyus has been a beast today. Walker drives, kicks, Parsons, and hits.
That's the unconventional way of going inside out, off the dribble penetration, as opposed to feeding the post.
Fredette lost it. Under 2 to go. Guarded by Walker now, and a whistle. And a timeout call by the Cougars. Chandler Parsons, though.
Off the dribble, collapses the defense once again, and a waiting Chandler Parsons buries it.
And a look at the game reset.
Well, if you're Brigham Young right here, you've got to understand that you're not out of this game. 1:51 left. You're down 7. Too many quick shots here by the Cougars. Fredette can do something to try to get into the lane here and suck that Gator defense in. Then you can knock down the 3.
Now Jimmer will grab it. He draws Boynton. Turns. Trying to rock his man. He's got Young on him.
He wanted to draw that foul.
Oh, and he threw it away.
But he had him.
Well, you know what? He might have been a little too far away for him to jump into him once he got him off his feet. And the length of Macklin really helped him on that one defensively. Otherwise, he would have been a victim.
Boynton, 1:24 to go. Tyus, he's been deadly from this range. They'll restart it. Walker, 12 to shoot. Irving down the lane to Tyus. Big time jam. He's got 19. Jimmer deep.
Yeah, he's off. Legs are gone.
Abuo cannot keep it in bounds. Florida with an 81-72 lead.
Alex Tyus is having a career evening tonight, and it's all been from the penetration of the Florida guards. Tyus with the finish there. 19 points on 8 of 9 field goals.
He also has 17 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block shot. A game of a lifetime for Alex Tyus.
Well, you can see right now it's BYU that wants to extend the game. Immediately over half court, Fredette fouls. And they're going to rely on free throw shooting versus their ability to hit the threes.
Arizona Duke, don't forget, folks, coming up on CBS in just a few minutes.
Gators as a team, 67% from the line. And you know BYU wants to exchange, come down and knock down some threes.
I don't think I've ever seen 2 teams combined to shoot 70 threes tonight between this BYU team and the Florida Gators.
Fredette losing it. A tie-up on the floor, Young. And the possession arrow favors BYU. Jimmer Fredette, 32 points on 11 of 29 shooting.
He's worked. He's had to work. Florida's done a terrific job.
3 of 15 from downtown. That's more important.
Emery a three. Young with the rebound on the baseline with 37 seconds remaining, and Parsons is fouled. How about this?
He should have fouled Young.
Florida can smell it now. 36.2 away from advancing to the Elite Eight, and this kid has been wonderful as well. Chandler Parsons. 15 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists.
Well, what did we say in the open? He is their most versatile player. He can run the floor. He can finish. He has great vision at 6'10". He's relentless on the offensive glass. And we saw timely threes here late in the second half in this overtime.
I'll tell you what, here's a guy.
And now Jimmer Fredette will check out of the game for the final time. As a member of the BYU Cougars, and what a career it's been.
Well, again, to put a period on Chandler Parsons, this is a guy that won Conference Player of the Year, averaging less than 12 points a game.
Inside with 27.6 to go, 83-74. And BYU, they've decided to let Walker get it into the front court, not foul, and let the clock run out. Irvin Walker playing keep away now. Boynton was awesome as well for the Gators. He had 17, 3 at halftime. Exploded in the second half. Congratulations, Florida. They're heading to the Elite Eight. Billy Donovan does it again. He won back-to-backs in 06 and 07, and right now he's 1 win away from heading to the Final Four. The brilliant career of Jimmer Fredette over at BYU, so we advance the Gators, and they await the winner of our next game between the Butler Bulldogs and the Badgers of Wisconsin. Reggie, your thoughts on this one going into overtime and how things eventually panned out?
Well, I thought whatever team got off to the quick start, which it ended up being Florida, was going to have the advantage. Just too many tough threes by BYU.
For Len Elmore, Reggie Miller, and Marty Snyder, I'm Gus Johnson saying so long from New Orleans. The final score, Florida defeated BYU. Coming up on TBS, it's a Wisconsin versus Butler.